No, I don't want you to give Carrie. There you go. All right, good. So Carrie's doing the minutes, so we're recording. All right, good. We're gonna. Oh my God, I gotta turn off my phone here. Hold on. Can't deal with
You know you're that up. You know you're that popular.
Sorry.
You know you're that popular. Your phone always ring.
Yeah, popular is not the right word for it, but okay. Okay, overview. Lots of things are happening. One of the things that we wanted to get, and actually, Leland, you and I spoke about it yesterday for a few minutes. There's a lot of stuff happening in Guyana, folks, a lot of stuff. And a lot of it has to do with human capital, training of workers, and a whole bunch of skills that were related things that are happening, okay? And as a matter of fact, as of this morning, one company says they're hiring 1,000 new people over the next, for the 5-year process. This is a new plan putting into effect. Now, when we started this, I think we all agreed, at least I certainly was hoping, always Angela, that we weren't going to get political or get involved in any one of political shenanigans. However, politics is raising its head, even to do with training. As a matter of fact, in the last week, when Terence Blackman had his program on the air, Dr. Lucas, who's at the UG, they made a lot of mention about rebuilding, right? Capital, human capital, but not to do with students. All it was to do with was adults. People are already in the workforce. And that's where they kind of missed. All right, let me not really miss the bus. What I've been doing when I've been doing my research at home is I'm not hearing anything to do with students per se. Everything has to do with adults, okay? Or people who already graduated and are looking for jobs, okay? So the places that I have talked to, which is the Center for Business Development, is saying that exactly where we're headed or focus our plan on, which is students, is the right place. Because even though they need workers now, we have to rebuild from the bottom up in some way, okay? So our program is definitely needed in what's going on. Nobody else that I've been able to find has anything looking like what we're planning on doing, okay? Even though there's a lot of career guidance, discussions, and some mentoring is going on in Guyana by local businessmen, there is no particular plan involving any particular school as such. So we're still in the forefront of this program. And what I'd like to say is we can't rest easy and just let things happen. We have to actually be fairly aggressive in how we're planning this process, right? And having said that, I don't know if anybody else is keeping up on what the news is in Guyana as to what's happening with employment of not so much young people, but adults.
Well, Dave, you mentioned, you had mentioned earlier that there was some company that was sending people to train overseas. I think Canada.
Yes, 100.
Which remind me again, was that the shore-based company, Gisby?
No, it wasn't shore-based. I think it was at. I'll have to go back and look at my.
Or Saipem. It might have been Saipem.
Already in Canada, yes, for engineering.
Okay. Yeah. I will look it up. I saw it. But yesterday, oilnow.gy reported that Western Logistics.
Correct.
Is they're hiring like 200 people every year for the next 5 years.
Correct.
They have some master plan to train. Yeah, and they're basically training them. Where they're training them, not sure.
No, they didn't specify where they're training them. But again, they're still talking about adults, or at least people that are out of school. Nowhere have I found anything talking about students. Nowhere.
Right.
I've checked in so many different places in Guyana, and the people that I've actually spoken to have said to me, boy, you're looking at students. Okay, you need to fit it in somewhere. So that's where we need to go, I guess. So at this point, hi, Angela.
Hi, guys. Sorry I'm late. Did you get my message, Dave, last night?
Yes.
I just went, I had to take an Uber to go pick it up, my phone. I lost my phone and all my cards.
All right.
Wow.
Good stuff.
Glad you got it back.
As long as you found it.
Yeah, no, the company, we put a tracer. because these days people don't thief anybody's phone anymore because you can now lock it and you can't use it no
Right.
part of the world.
That's a fact. Yep.
Because I was not paying $1,100 for another phone.
Jesus. Oh, Lord.
But to continue with that thought on training,
Yes.
I noticed that Exxon was looking for a project manager for
Correct.
the, well, they're basically building a training institute in Guyana.
Mhm.
Not sure how that will be something that will take months to build. So it's not an immediate thing. The
2
question
years.
is,
They said 2 years.
2 years?
Yep.
If I
Anyhow.
can ask a question,
I read. Go ahead, Angela.
based on what I heard you saying about this program and this training, how diverse is the people they're picking to do this training
That's the
that
problem.
represents
I
Guyana?
have no idea. That's a really good question. I have no idea.
Yeah,
all
we
I
need
know
to find
these
out if they're
individuals-
just picking who they want to pick and stuff, yeah.
Well, we're gonna need some intelligence now, some market intelligence at
Yep.
both ends.
Yeah.
Canada seems to be quite well entrenched with this oil and gas sector in Guyana.
Yes,
And I don't have the connections that I would like both in Canada or in Guyana. But Angela, I'm gonna now ask you, with Mark's help maybe, to try and get some
Yes.
more market intelligence.
I lived in Alberta, so I have people who work out there.
There you go. All right.
All
And
right,
in Guyana,
Alberta was famously where the former governor came to do a review
yeah.
of the review done by Bayface or Payara,
wow. Well,
a UK company, by the way, an Exxon plant.
Actually, my claim to fame for that I tell people is my dad built Edmonton. My dad was a British trained welder, and he used to
wow.
work for Dominion Bridge and Falcon Bridge and those companies. So he was working between the States and Canada, doing most of the welding to put up the oil, all the oil tanker oil things up in the air and all of that.
Jeez. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, you know, Dave, we had spoken to Fareed Amin. So there's another Canadian entree, if you like,
Yeah,
as
yes,
to what's
mhm.
going on.
There's some heavy connections between Canada and Guyana. Heavy,
Yes,
Plus,
heavy.
always
Yeah,
been.
there's a Canadian Chamber of Commerce, Canada Guyana Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
I think this guy you and I spoke about yesterday, Mark Prasad. By the way, I spoke to him yesterday.
He would
They
know.
may be involved too in the Chamber of Commerce business.
Yes.
Then there's this Newfoundland people we spoke to like a year and a half ago. This is to do with environmental stuff. So they may also do some training. So those are things you have to keep tabs on.
Canada has always had an interest in Guyana. Canada's also had an interest in Guyana. That's why when I came here and I went back in the 80s, I started going back from the 80s. I started doing all kinds of projects because there was always that connection that I wanted to maintain in case anything, I need any help or any problems. I will have somebody. And even when the Resource Gold Company out of Montreal went into Madia, because I went up to Madia with 3 of the Canadian guys when they were going in there back in 1982. And I regret never investing in that situation. I might have been a lot further ahead financially, but that is
Wow.
life. You live and learn.
The gold queen. You're the gold queen by now, man. Yes. All right. Well, let's go back to what we were talking
Okay,
about.
so you want me to get you the connection with Alberta, right?
I don't.
Yeah. There's a great push right now for a large amount of training in every respect, but it's all to do with adults.
Oh, no,
Now, Leland and I spoke yesterday about skills training, and actually Carrie
don't
and I
worry,
talked a
Dad.
little bit about it last night. We need this kind of
It's just a number. I don't know name.
sorry, I didn't hear you. Did you say?
No, Leyland's
No.
talking to somebody else, huh?
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm saying now we need to kind of put this structure together as to what we're planning, because I might as well. Yeah, I'm going to jump the gun because we don't have to do any speaking about it. I have some good news for everybody. The 501c application was submitted yesterday, okay, to the IRS in the US. Now, it could not have been done without paid help, unfortunately, but it was very well done. You have no idea, I think I told Rod just now, this woman actually changed my complete program. There was no way I would have been able to complete this thing without either legal help or this woman's input. and she's very knowledgeable. She's all of the projects she's done, 100% of them, she's got it, the nonprofit approval. So that was done yesterday. So we're now in a.
How long does it normally take, Dave, to turn around?
She said 2 to 6 months. That's the time frame. And it just depends on how many times they come back and ask questions. And she actually made a point, actually her general manager said to me, Dave, you probably know who are the people who are working for the government at a certain level. And he said, when they read stuff like this, if they don't understand something, they immediately ask a question. So they might come back 2 or 3 times and ask a question, but that's what she's doing. So in other words, I have no need, all I have to do is as soon as I get a question from the IRS, I pass it immediately back to her. So it's been really, really helpful. I mean, we were supposed to get this thing done since the end of August, if you remember. But I would have never been able to get it done. There was no question in my mind when I looked at the final paperwork. I was going, holy crap. This was some piece of work. So that's
Questions, Dave?
so that was number 3 on the agenda.
Dave, 2 questions for you. The name of the consultant and how much it cost you.
I was
I'm
about to
sorry?
ask the same.
I didn't hear your question.
The name of the consultant and the amount it cost you.
All right, I'm gonna send that out by email because she's just furnishing me with the last stuff. I've given her a $1,250 deposit and an $1,800, which includes the price for the IRS. But as soon as I get the invoice, the receipts, I'll put them in an email for you. Okay?
All right, because I just needed it for the record, for the
Yep,
minutes.
I know. Well, I'm just trying to control all that stuff now. So $1,250 and $1,850 right now. And that includes, I think, $700 or $800 to the IRS because that's part of the whole process. All right, so that takes care of number 3. All right, we don't need to go back to that. We now need to start talking about our next program, which is actually, I sent you folks all the Kronos proposal. That's item number 2. I sent you the proposal and I hope everybody had a chance to look at it. I don't want to go into it in detail because that's the reason I sent it out to you. And Carrie, did you have a look at it? Because that includes the pricing, which will probably be needed when we start looking at our funding proposals.
You're talking about the Word document?
The Kronos proposal.
Oh, I had a brief look at it. So to be honest with you, I didn't.
Nobody else seems like they've had a look at it. Am I correct?
No, I had a look at it.
All right. Well, there's not much to look at.
But I think we need much more information on it before, certainly from my point of view, that I can make any meaningful
Input. Well, you weren't
thoughts
right.
or
You weren't
discussions.
involved in the first demos. That's fine. But all I'm saying is we don't need to go into that very much depth, except they have provided a program, and we will talk about them next Friday because that was going to be the final demo. And then we have to make a decision as to how it's going to work for us because it requires a significant amount of training. Somebody will have to take that bull by the horns, and we're going to have to appoint somebody to be the administrator of that program with Kronos. So at some point, we're going to have to discuss that probably over the next month because now that
we haven't yet determined whether it will be Dennis or Leland.
Can you speak up a bit there, Gary? I didn't hear
you. Is there an issue? I think maybe I better get my.
Yeah.
Anyone else is having issues with it?
Need to discuss it to that extent today because all it is I'm giving you an idea on how the program works. And if you go on their website, you'll be able to see there's a lot more information available. The interactive platform is what is actually going to run the program. But we will need probably 2 administrators over the next year. We need one initially and probably a second one just before the program gets started. And then we'll need a monitoring person in Ghana, which is what I was hoping to talk to the headmistress about.
All right, Dave, testing, 1, 2, 3. Is everybody hearing me clearly now?
Very clear.
You're fine. That's good.
So previously it wasn't.
Sorry?
Prior to this,
Yes.
it wasn't clear. But I wasn't clear.
That's right.
It was intermittent, Carrie. It was intermittent.
Okay, good. All right,
Okay.
now the question I was asking Dave is whether Dennis and or Leland, or Dennis or Leland would have been the designated admin, if you like, for Cronus.
No, that's.
Or we
that's
still
probably
have
not
to-
in their wheelhouse, no.
But don't
They're
we
just
have-
putting a program
Don't we have
together.
it-
IT people on this, in this group?
Exactly. Because it definitely, Carrie, it definitely won't be Dennis.
Yeah.
But you need somebody with
With
IT
background,
skills
Yeah.
to be
Correct.
the administrator.
All
Yes.
right, I thought you needed somebody who did mentoring software before.
No, I don't think so. They're saying they'll train for the mentoring part. It's the IT
All right, well-
facility.
Okay, you basically need two admins, if you like,
Correct.
the
yes,
technical admin and then the operational.
Yes, correct. Yep,
Okay,
that's a good point. And this, at some point, that's gonna take on a tremendous amount of in-depth work to get this program put together. But that is until probably late December or something, when we decide that that's gonna be what we're gonna use. And then we have to make a decision based obviously on funding, if we're going ahead with Cronus. I've already looked at the other two companies that we've been looking at since last year, and they don't stack up the way that Cronus does. Cronus has a tremendous ability to work with a whole bunch of different operations. And we're just one of them. What's nice.
yeah, I thought we settled on Cronus in the last meeting.
Well, we did in that sense, Gary, but now we have to make a decision on how we're going ahead with them. Remember,
Okay.
we talked initially, this was before Leland was involved with the Cronus side of it, how many licenses we'd go initially, up to 100. The first year, we'd probably not even make 100. So we gave a
Mhm.
breakdown of up to 100, then between 1 to 3, and then over 500. Because once it takes off, every additional license, I think, is $48 or something. So it's not a cheap program.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask about the finances overall for
Correct.
bonus.
Right.
Definitely isn't cheap.
No. Well, nothing.
You pay for what you get, so.
You pay for what you get, exactly. Some of the other programs that were really not even $2,000 a month, they didn't have anything like this, okay? I went into it on a fair bit of depth, and all it did was confuse me. People kept calling me, and they were only asking me, yeah, make a decision, give us a contract, and we'll talk from there. Cronus is a reverse. Cronus says, let's talk until you're satisfied. And I like that program. So that's why we're going to talk about this exhaustively over the next few months. However, right now, I'm going to go into number 4 because that's where we are today. Okay, we now need to start talking about funding. Now that the application for the 501 is on its way, we now need to start talking about how we're going to achieve our program. And that is based entirely on funding. So I sent out, well, actually, just to give you a little bit of background, Carrie and I talked with the Exxon guy a few weeks back, and he made a really good presentation that I felt made sense. He said, instead of 7 pages of a document, all right, nobody wants to see or has the time today to look at that. So they want a slide deck presentation for marketing, okay? And that's what I've started working on 2 weeks ago. I sent a couple of them to Rod and Kerry. I didn't want to send it to everybody yet because that's not my forte at this point, even though I'm not going to have to get involved. I need some help in looking at this as a marketing program. All right. So I'm going to send it out to everybody based on what Kerry and Rod are going to input over the next few days, because these guys have helped me right at the beginning, if you remember. Now we're starting to spread our wings. I'm going to need some more input, okay? Carrie, I'm expecting to take the lead in changing my documentation more towards the printed, towards the presentation side. I will put the presentation side together based on what your feedback is, okay? So I don't mind doing that because I have a lot of experience putting presentations in, but I need the feedback. I need the written material, okay? I can't emphasize right now that we're at the point where we can't even put the website up live until we have some kind of an approval from the Florida state. And the problem I have here is that Florida state is lacking in manpower. So right now, even though I put in our amendment back in June 25th, they're still only working the early part of June for amendments to the various corporations, the LLCs. So it may be another month before I get an approval to set up a bank account.
So
Oh,
is
the
it-
approval is a bank account. I was wondering if
That's all
if
it
it's for the
is.
website.
I don't know
Okay.
how, I'm figuring if there's some other way we could do this, because the website guy is saying, you can't really do anything until you, with the website, until you have a donation page fully functional. And right now it's not, because the money has nowhere to go. And I'm not about to put it in a private account.
Two things. On the banking issue, you need funding in US dollars, so you need that in the 501c3 bank account you're going to set up here.
Yes.
Plus, you need G dollar donations in the bank account in Guyana, right?
Okay, the way the lady is talking about who's helping me with the 501, she said, leave Guyana out of it for the time being until you get your approval. She said, because what you don't want is for them to be talking about two countries, okay? As a matter of fact, she made a really salient point. Just put it in as a very narrow focus, online, no transfer of people or money or whatever. You're running it out of the US. And for tax purposes, that is what you really need.
But when you go to these CSR, corporate social responsibility programs of those companies in Guyana, they're not going to give you US dollars.
Okay.
They're going to
No,
ask for a
I'm not saying-
Guyana bank account.
Not saying they won't, Carrie, listen to me very carefully.
But that's
All of them
afterwards.
have a
That's,
bank account. Matter of fact, Elizabeth is setting up a bank account in Guyana, but no money is coming through that yet until we get our approval. That's what she's saying. All right, of course, we'll have a bank account there and they'll have it in Guyana dollars, however they want to do it. But we're also looking at international funding in US dollars, okay? Because you can't be taking Cronus money from Guyana, transferring to US to pay them. I'd like to
right.
assume we will have enough funding at both ends,
I understand that, because I was about to suggest that it might be a little easier to do an account in Canada, but I agree with your consultant. It has to stay on US
That's
as
what you
the
want.
initiated and only, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the only problem. I've been to two banks, including Toronto Dominion, because Toronto Dominion is big in the US, in case you didn't know. And actually, they're even more security conscious. They looked at me and went, what are you trying to do? I said, well, how about if we start something under this? The lady said to me, no, you can't do that. And worse yet was if we try to put it in a personal bank account. That's even worse. And I never wanted to get there anyway.
Yeah,
So
they're
we just
going
have
to
to
charge you
wait.
for laundering money.
That's right, exactly. So you have to wait until we get this process completed. But in the meantime, we need the program for funding fully vetted. And that's what I meant. I need that now. And Carrie, Rod, I need
okay.
your help. Let's put together. Yes.
Right, with respect to the 501c3 approval and the bank account in the United States, does the notion of a treasurer come into play? Like a formal treasurer, somebody with legal responsibility?
Well, I've already tapped Lancy Conyers out in New York. Okay. Now he said to me, he'll put together our budget. Matter of fact, he's the one that did our budget. And actually, the lady said to me, boy, you guys went to the end result with this budget. I said, well, we had to. And it's very professionally done. So Lancy Conyers will be, albeit our potential treasurer, even though I'm not sure. I'd like to tap him into our committees, but he said, Dave, I have too many things on my head. He's also doing a lot of work for foundations or whatever. So we're always tapping busy people.
And the articles of incorporation never asked to name secretary, treasurer, etc.
Actually, yes, it did. Yeah, the articles do that. The articles that have gone in, it named our Roger as a treasurer. Okay, so we do have names in the articles, but I mean those can be amended or whatever.
But you could change that,
Correct.
once you.
Yeah.
Okay, but the 501c3 application itself, did it ask for officers' names?
Oh
Or
yeah, well that was already done. It went in as the original.
no, but it did ask for it. I know it's done. It's submitted yesterday.
Yes, it was.
But were the names written? Was Joe Blow written? Jane Doe written?
Yes.
Okay, good.
It's
That's
the original application, correct. Yep.
okay.
All right.
Dave, I was just thinking, the QC chapter in South Florida is a 501c3, and they have pledged a certain amount of money to us. Could they not have paid that expense for the helped out with the paying for the filing? Because we haven't touched that money yet.
To be frank with you, other than Keith, and John Yates, who are very together with me, get them to do something, Rod, quite frankly.
No, Dave, it's not, the money has been allocated.
It's
for
been
us. The
allocated.
question is-
It's been minuted.
Yeah, it's in the minutes. They can't go back on that. We do have 2,000. The question is, do we need to set up this bank account, get a 501(c)(3) approval? It's the formalities over before we say, okay, guys, give us the money, because don't forget, they have their own fiduciary responsibility. They just can't hand $2,000 to Dave Rohi. But
right.
the point though is that Dave Rohi's expense right now for 501(c)(3) and all of that will be reimbursed to Dave Rohi once that 2,000 comes in to the 501(c)(3) bank account. You get what I'm saying?
And
No,
that's
I
above,
think I think Carrie is right on point.
that's above board, man. Yes.
Right on
Now,
point.
wait a minute. Okay, now I like something else, what Rod said though. Let me ask another stupid question, if I may. What about utilizing the 501? No, that can't work either, because it's an association. Remember, our whole global process was not focused on an association. So we can't use that bank account. Candy idea. But Rod, it was a good question. I'm not in desperate straits right now, but at some point we have to get that, sorted out. And now that the 501c3 is on its way, okay, I'm in a lot better mood in sense of we now need to get the funding put in place. And Angela, after last night with Mark Prasad, I can tell you something, the numbers that he was talking about, it's incredible. So between you, Kerry and Rod, who know this guy, we're now going to say to him at some point, don't do it yet, please.
Okay, no
I
problem.
don't want no piecemeal stuff. He
Right.
talked some big numbers last night that they're supporting the Somali population.
Yeah, he gets,
a whole
believe you
bunch of
me,
stuff.
he knows how to do the paperwork for the
Well, there you
government for
go.
money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, at some point, he may be our legal advisor internationally. Okay, he did say that last night.
Yeah.
Dave, how else you want it?
Yeah, that's his forte. He likes doing that kind of stuff.
I spoke to him on that too. I told him, as I said to you, Dave, that until we get something substantive, I wasn't going to come to him to let him know about GAN. But I said, as Dave preempted me, I said, okay, buddy. So, and then I mentioned to him.
I was sitting on it for a while because Mark and I used to do stuff together.
But the first name you gave me, a couple of months ago, was your buddy, who has not answered me. And I didn't know that you knew Mark, but these connections are great, okay?
Yeah.
So when Angela got me at the Mark, Angela was talking to me about Mark months ago, okay? But once
Angela, you knew about Mark due to the Canada connection, not the QC.
Yeah, Mark and I have worked together on some stuff.
Yeah.
And,
actually, Mark
and we lost track of each other because our journeys took us in different directions. But then we reconnected on a common issue, and I didn't even know he was still practicing criminal stuff also and advocacy. So when I brought a situation to him, he said, "Girl, where have you been?" And I'm part of something that's very big, and I want you. I want you
what Rod
involved.
is doing, what Rod is doing in England, right?
Yeah.
Community work and the NGO stuff.
Yeah.
Mark is doing a lot of those. I mean, more on the legal representation side, right? And he's very community.
And he's still in the courtroom. That's why he's been busy.
Yeah, when I took last night, he was still in the office, winding down stuff.
To some heavyweights for money,
Yeah.
I'm talking big dollars. So all I'm saying, before we kind of jump off at the wrong end here, let's make sure we have a focus plan for him,
Yeah.
I was going to see him in Toronto, but the COVID, I just had to cancel it. I told him.
It's a good thing you didn't see too many other people.
We were going to have Baigan Choka and bake.
Hey,
Carrie,
stop,
I was
guys,
hoping to hear from you.
Please. stop, don't talk
I
food
just
right
came
now.
from Sybil's with bacon, smoked herring.
You guys are something else. All right, so things are starting to happen. Carrie and Rod, I need some help to put this. I'm going to send you. I think I have up to 11 slides, and all I did was Dennis and Leland had given me a good start on some of the slides we originally had, but that was
No, well,
not
I started working on it, as I mentioned to you, Dave.
right.
And just for Rod's sake, one of the things was I tried to remove the fluff and put more specific things like capacity building, right? In the first slide.
Okay.
The other one, instead of workforce, put technical skill sets. Because a financier, when he sees workforce, right? Or when you talk about low level, I mean, from the ground up, you're talking low level unskilled labor. They don't want to hear that, not for funding, right? So, I mean, that's just a couple. I just looked at 3 slides yesterday, and I spoke to Dave about it. So, Dave, I'm a little bit back to normal. After this meeting, I think I still got 1 or 2 things.
A little bit. Oh, it's a little bit, guy. Because last
No,
week
I had 2 murderous days since I came back. Honest.
all right.
I had to go buy groceries for the house. Then I had to do medical stuff.
All right. Well, we
Plus
need.
my internet went down.
All right. So here's what I need from you, though. I have a list of about 40 different companies internationally. Got nothing to do with Guyana. Okay. So I need that document that I produced, right? Whittled down to 2 pages. I tried, and that's not my forte. I'm a writer, not the editor.
I'll get it
You get
after
my stuff
today's meeting.
and then put it out to everybody for their input.
By the weekend, I should be finished with it.
All right.
Don't forget, I still got the South Florida AGM minutes. I still got the last GAN minutes.
We'll be waiting for
The
that.
Fareed thing follow up. I mean, I
If
got a
I
lot
could
of
just
writing to
interject
do.
for a minute quickly, guys. I am a little pressed on time. I have a mentee that I have to hook up with this afternoon because
Okay.
she's having trouble with her math, and I'm trying to remember all my theorems to go correct that. But right now,
All right.
we have a
Well,
meeting
Angela.
Monday. No, I just want to confirm a couple of things. We have a meeting again next Friday.
Friday, correct. Yes, 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
Nothing
for Corona.
before that. Nothing else
No,
before that.
nothing before that. No.
Okay, that means then I put all the dates, all the possible dates in my calendar then, because I have about 3 dates.
All right,
Okay.
Angela. Before you go, 2 things. One is, were you involved in getting Vishuk to talk to us,
No.
or
No.
that's a separate thing?
That was
Okay.
no.
All right. The last thing is the pilot. Sorry, I'm going back to Cronus. Dave, I think the last meeting we were going to do a 2-minute pilot.
Yes. They couldn't do the pilot.
Oh.
They
We could do
remember
the
I said
pilot.
They can't do the pilot, no. The pilot is
Any
something.
particular reason that they can't?
Yes, because that requires a complete miniaturizing of what they're going to be do for us eventually. So they don't do that on the fly. Okay.
Yeah, I know you told me that, but is there something that they have a template? Because you know what, you need a 2-minute video to give the presenters,
Yeah, well, they're not doing
along
that.
with your PowerPoint and your doc.
You
They're
know,
not doing that. They don't mind helping us.
I'm a
with
let
that.
I'm a little
Video.
concerned. I'm a little concerned that they can't do that, because any person that I've spoken to or any organizations, are you trying to get a new program, they always would give you some information and give you a little run through, either 2 or 3 minutes. So I'm surprised that an
Well-
international company like them can't do that, or wouldn't.
I don't think that they
wouldn't
can't.
do it. They wouldn't. Why not?
I think people are these days are worried that anytime, it's just like me doing a project, sending it to the government for funding, they keep my project, which is a stealing of intellectual material, and they go and call one of their friends to give it to them and said, I have funding for this project, but they don't give it to the person who submitted it. So those are possibilities, but I agree though, they should have had some kind of a template that we should have been able to use to do a mock whatever.
Exactly.
To take out there. So maybe we need to go back to them and ask them, we don't want you to do a miniature of what you are going to do for us, but do you have a template that we could work with, just like how you were demonstrating to us that we could do in turn to the people that we are hoping to pull
that's
in.
fine. All
Yeah.
right, and Angela, that's a question for next Friday, okay?
Okay.
And I need now to have more input than just from me, okay?
Yeah.
I need to broaden this now where I'm getting more input, because I can't be the only focus to get information. I cannot continue to do that. All right. There's just too many things going on. I'm
Okay,
spending
guys,
about
I got elections next week, and I got a old council that is running again, that is gonna be winning again. And I have to get to his office to tell him what I want, because I'm not going through no steps anymore for funding. I want direct government federal funding. I'm not going through nobody else, no gatekeepers. I don't have the time for it.
Go for it.
He
Go
wants
for it.
my vote, and my people in my area vote. He better do what he has to do for me.
All right. Yeah.
Correct.
I gotta run, guys. Good to see
Bye.
you.
All right,
So
Angela.
now I have not met my other female counterpart on this group, but
All
that's okay.
We're
Okay,
happy to
guys.
have you. Looking
Thank you
forward to
very
that.
much.
Angela,
Take
you're
care.
in Alberta.
No,
you're in
I said
Alberta,
I
right?
used to live in Alberta. I came back, but I do have connections in Alberta. My brother still lives there. My brother does something in Calgary, but I was in Edmonton, and I've been asked to come back, but they supposedly have work for people like me. But you know what? I am supposed to be semi-retired. I'm supposed to be cocking my foot up in Jordan or wherever I want to go to Petra, and I am not getting to do a lot of that because people are pulling me back into things.
Angela, there's no something like semi-retired for Guyanese. It just doesn't work.
I know.
No way, I'm sorry.
I
There's no
know,
retirement in this.
guys.
Hey,
I know,
I've
guys.
retired that word from your dictionary.
Yeah,
Forget
I
it.
know. I really should
All right,
take it.
Angela.
Okay, take care, folks, and we'll talk.
All right.
I'll see you guys next
Good.
Friday. Okay,
Yeah,
bye-bye.
talk to you.
Okay, take care.
Take care.
All right, so next
I-
Friday, for those guys who are interested in what's going on, and Leland, because you weren't involved in the first set, you can now be introduced in that sense. Now, I'm also getting the webmaster to be on that call, because we need to start talking about how we can achieve some interconnection integrated into the website, okay? Because that's what that was for. But maybe I'll have to change, I'll talk to Cronus on Monday and see if we can maybe change that agenda for next Friday to include some kind of a scenario for something else, because I'm just got too many things in this particular area that I'm not that familiar with. And when I asked about the pilot, which you had talked about, Gary, they said, well, the only reason that they don't do a pilot because it's a miniaturization of the entire program. All right, so I don't understand why they couldn't do that, but Leland had a good point.
I know that would have helped. That would have helped.
All
Because
right,
nowadays everything is video. Even when you submit a resume, people don't do paper digital. Alphanumeric resume anymore. They do video.
yep,
Or
Even
TikTok.
TikTok and the
Yeah.
Senate. Yeah, TikTok video. And that's what we need, like a TikTok, and you give it to a presenter. Anyhow, our funder. Two things. The two Shooks. Ashok, I have to follow up with him because we were supposed to do a Zoom after he would have digested what information we gave him. And secondly, Vishok. Any word on Vishok? I got a call.
yes.
I still gotta
No,
call my friend.
Rod, I need you to talk, by the way, for everybody's information now, Marcel has actually said that Pauline Chase is now the connection that we need to work with in Guyana outside of the school. So we're gonna do this from two angles, from the headmistress and also from, I hate to say
Pauline.
it. So instead of the Board of Governors, that's gonna be the OSA, okay?
Mm.
Now, Vishak is connected with Pauline Chase. This is from our lawyer in Guyana. So it's interesting, John Yates actually, who is Uncle John to Vishak. I still can't get a hold of this guy. After a week, he sent me a WhatsApp saying, oh, I only just looked at it last night. When can we talk? I said, anytime today. Thank
That's
you.
Vishok.
Oh, wants to come back.
No.
I'm trying to deal with people in Guyana these days, guys. It's unbelievable. And now the internet situation, which is what is our basic need. We can't do anything with our program unless we have a good bandwidth and a stable connection. That is the issue that Vishak needs to start answering. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to talk to the headmistress on Tuesday next week. I've sent her the email asking for that. I've copied you, Rod. On
Yep.
that.
I saw that. I read that.
So once we have, well, let me put it another way. We now need to go back to Pauline. I don't have Pauline's phone number or her WhatsApp. I don't know.
I do. I get it.
Do you know her to talk to in that sense? Because
Yeah.
talking to me through Marcel, and I don't like that.
No, because of the historical project I'm working on, she and I have been communicating. So
Can you see if you can put her, get her to start talk to us?
yeah.
Because the
So
last time I talked,
Dave, was a discussion with you and the headmistress? for our general knowledge.
Okay, she was on the call with Marcel when we spoke about GAN. Okay, and it went over very well. We had spoken to Marcel prior to Pauline being on the call, in another call, I should say, and he was very interested. And it was at that time he said he would like to be a director for GAN. So we still have that kind of hanging in the wind. Okay. Then he said to me, however, what I'm going to suggest to you for our next call is to have Pauline Chase and the schoolmistress on board, which we agreed to. The problem is at that next call, it was only him and Pauline that were on the line. Okay. Instead of the head. And even though that conversation went off very well, she kept saying to me, oh, Rod, Elizabeth finally.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. Yes. Hold on.
Right. All right, let me wait till she gets on there. This is the part of the problem we're having in Guyana, folks. Hoping she's going to connect. Hey, Elizabeth, how are you?
Oh, Dave, I am so sorry to be this ridiculously late. The power
That's
company
okay.
came to fix a problem I have downstairs,
Oh, boy.
so I had to be there with them. I'm hoping I can get a recording of the meeting.
Yes, you
Yes.
could. Yes, Rod's
Oh, great.
doing it.
Thank you
Not a
very
problem,
much.
Yeah.
Elizabeth. Thank you. Okay, so let's go back to the conversation. When we had the second conversation with Marcel and Pauline, it was a good conversation. And Pauline at the end of it said, look, guys, rather than doing one classroom, okay, we want the school to be connected so you don't have to worry about a specific classroom. Have this presentation in any classroom or in any location in the school. And she said Vishok was already trying to make connection with the school. Okay.
And the headmistress told me the same when I met with her.
Right.
over
And
the
I got
summer.
that from the headmistress the next time I got her email.
Mm.
So what's happening now is that Pauline and Leland, I'm not sure you were au fait with this through some of the other associations business, but Pauline is actually running any program that goes through the Board of Governors for the school. Okay. So we cannot avoid that. And all I want is not to have a bad connection with her. And up to now, it's a good connection. And I'm asking Rod now to make sure we maintain that connection.
Yeah.
But we
Okay.
need to get Vishok and the e-networks on board with the next call. Now, you guys, hopefully you and Kerry were not able to track down the undercover Marcel in London.
I did. I told you I tracked him down.
So now we have to try and track him down in Guyana again. Okay. So
I'll forward you his WhatsApp number.
if for some reason, okay, well, forward me his WhatsApp number. But
You,
you
wait,
need Pauline.
you don't want to talk to the man?
No, I do. No. He's not the problem. I'm saying I want to talk to Pauline.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah. Well,
like
well,
us to talk to
all right,
Pauline.
good.
She's obviously the person that's wielding the sword.
She
And I
is,
gotta tell
she
you
is.
something, I don't care what the association problem we have with her. We don't have any problem with Pauline. We just need to get her on board with what we're doing. And from what she said in our first meeting, she said, I like what you guys are planning. Okay, just go ahead with it, but let us know. The problem is, I thought Marcel was running the board, but it's apparent that Pauline is running the board. I don't know. Whatever it is, doesn't affect us in that sense, but we
No.
need connectivity with her now, okay? And
And Dave, guys, I'm going to be in Guyana mid-December. That's
well,
less than 2 months away, mid-December.
that's quite a
So
way.
maybe we'll talk as the time comes closer
Okay.
on seeing some people.
Well,
again.
what we need from Pauline and Vishok right now are what plans they have to connect to school. That's where we are right now. As a matter of fact, it's not even any point getting Terry Hart involved on our side until we have a connection with Vishok and Pauline.
Okay.
Those two people are important.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a lot of other good input, but nothing to do with the school, okay? This connectivity is humongous. All right, the website update, if we're finished with that for the time being, anybody got any other input?
No.
All right. The website update. The website, I have now thanks to Rod, I'm now connected with the Lichter Live operations guy.
Good.
Rod, I don't know if you know this guy, Arthur Roberts. He's the
Arthur
oper-
Roberts. No, I don't know Arthur.
Wow, mate, this guy is something else. I don't know whether he's 16 or however old. This guy is his English is incredible. Okay. So he is the operations manager for Lichter Live. So between him and Melissa Glenn now, they're the ones that I'm trying to get photographs and some videos to put into the website. Okay. So I'm hoping, and actually, Arthur did say to me a couple of days ago, Mr. Rohi, it may be a little difficult for me to come up with a video because he didn't see anything in the Lichter Live library, I guess. Okay.
Mm,
They have a lot of photographs, but actually, our web guy, RJ, is saying to me, David, it'd be great if you have some short videos to input into that area about GAN, okay,
Okay.
which is to do with the math camp. I've already spoken to John Campbell in New York about getting us to math camp. I ran into a problem there because John said, we didn't get the video. It was taken by a local journalist in Guyana. I'm trying to track down that journalist because anything we put on the website has to be original content, not copies of copies.
okay.
Or else the pixels are degraded and it looks like crap. And we're not going to put out any.
What's the journalist's name? What's the journalist's name? Do you know?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I
I
asked
see.
Arthur and Melissa Gleno to tell me who is the journalist. And I'm sure it might be Kaichor, somebody from Kaichor News or Demerara Waves or something.
Okay.
Not sure who it is yet. And those are the things that are taking a lot of time trying to find out who's doing what.
All right.
Out of my research. But if you could try and find that out, Rod, that is important now for some short videos
Mm,
to put into our about page. Now, because RJ is also saying he actually wasn't that certain how Lichter Live would add to our. But I'm suggesting Lichter Live is a really good connection because it's the students. And Carrie,
Absolutely.
you had brought this up right at the beginning to have a forum for students. So I haven't really said to him, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm just asking a question, how we're going to install something like this on our website.
mm,
The
Well,
webmaster-
Dave,
Go ahead.
the important stakeholders are the connectivity people in the school connectivity, the Lichter Live people.
Yes,
That's going to be your partner in Guyana. And then the 501c3 business with the funding. So those are our areas of focus. Oh, and the Cronus.
and Cronus, correct. All right, so
Gentlemen, Dave, is it a problem where you're not getting onto Bishop?
that's true.
I may have contact information for him from my last
Check it,
job.
Joan.
I'm sorry, Elizabeth, go ahead.
I was saying that I may have contact information for him because I think that I've had contact with him a few times on my last job. So if you like, I could try to get on to him for you.
I would, I would love that, really, Elizabeth, this is what we
All
need.
right, tell me what you want from him.
I want to talk to him about the connectivity for the schools. I don't want him giving, if you could get the three of us together, that's fine. I need to get something directly from him as to what Pauline has spoken to him about in terms of connectivity for the school. I'd like to know where the e-networks plan is to have the school fully connected, all right? Because here's one of the things, Elizabeth, that I have a problem with. From my understanding, the main connection goes into the government of Guyana and then is subcontracted to different companies like e-networks. That's scary, okay? Which means the government literally controls the internet, just like it's happening in Russia. So there's, that's a scary thought. So I wanted to find out.
I am not sure that that is actually so, because what I think they do is that they rent bandwidth and then the companies control what they do with the bandwidth. At
Say
least
that
that's
again.
how I've always understood it.
Say the
The
same.
government has their own internet service. You know, they have free internet in various places around the city and so on. But that is entirely different from what Bishop and company are doing.
Yeah, what they do, Elizabeth, is that the government auctions out the spectrum, the bandwidth spectrum. Based upon
Uh-huh.
that now, the individual corporate private enterprise company go and buy from the tier one people like AT&T, Verizon, or whoever, right? They go and buy a certain amount of bandwidth. And that is
Uh-huh.
dependent on their customers, how many, that's a business decision by them. But right now, Guyana, I don't know whether the aggregate of the bandwidth that comes into Guyana is adequate. But then again, that's a business. That's for the businesses. Question is the government giving it out to the auctioning it off to a competition, or is just Digicel and e-networks? You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
Carrie, that's exactly
Well,
what we need from Vishak. That
they
is what. we're
have,
trying to-
No,
there are a number of other internet companies that have started up, not just Digicel and e-networks. I've
yeah, but
seen a whole lot of others.
they may be they may be subcontracting from the three majors bandwidth. So it's not like they go and get their own bandwidth. Maybe. Anyhow,
Ah,
coming back to Vishuk, right? Dave, you were going to reach out to Terry to get some bulleted questions to ask of Vishuk, or unless if you get us all together, I'm supposed to give you some questions as well for Vishuk, or at least some comments
Correct.
or commentary
Well, Carrie, the
in your
problem was,
discussion.
you're right. The problem was right initially was not being able to talk to Vishak one-on-one. Because the first question that Terry wanted was the plan for the school, if you remember. He wanted an updated plan to be able to talk about distances, ceiling heights, the amount of classrooms, etc. And all Marcel was able to tell me a few weeks back, Dave, the only plans we have are pre-fire. Okay, I don't believe that. This is the kind of stuff we're running into, that I'm running into.
surely the contractor must have plans.
Sorry? Say again, Elizabeth?
The contractor must have
I
plans, you think?
right, I was saying surely the contractor who builds a new school would have to have plans.
Well, he
Okay,
did.
Elizabeth,
You know that.
Elizabeth, hold on. This is exactly why getting hold of somebody like Bishop
Yeah.
one-on-one is important. We need to know, just what Carrie was talking about. Are you getting bandwidth directly, or are you getting it subcontracted through or auctioned off? That is one of the main questions we need. Okay, and then
Okay,
Elizabeth,
okay.
Elizabeth, hold on. Pauline has already chosen e-networks for Queen's College. So it's no point talking to other suppliers. She has some connection with Vishak. That's all I can tell
Oh,
you.
no, I wasn't suggesting that we talk to somebody else. I think I was saying something about that it's not Digicel and e-networks alone, that they have all these other people who now get part of the spectrum.
Yeah, they're actually offering cable services, cable television service, and internet services, but they're not tier one, Guyana tier one providers necessarily. I don't know, because I haven't seen anything in the news about government auctioning spectrum bandwidth, and then Joe Blow company and the other company there, and they all got. I haven't seen anything in the media in the last 2 years, so I have to believe that it's E Networks, GT&T, and Digicel.
Digicel.
But
Digicel.
But if
folks,
if
we don't
Pauline
know-
has already decided what she's going and which one of the companies she wants,
Correct. That's
there's
what I'm
no there's no point in us going to determine other companies. She has
True,
already
true.
made that decision, so that's what I think that we've got to work with.
Right, of
Yeah.
course. And I do understand that e-networks is very competitive and they're very efficient compared to GT&T and Digicel and those.
Well, Elizabeth, if I
A
can
number
ask
of
you-
persons are switching from GT&T to e-networks.
Okay, so Elizabeth, what I'm going to ask you is specifically see if you can get hold of Vishak one-on-one to have a conversation with me initially, and then so I can expand and get Carrie and Terry Hart and the IT people more involved. But right now, we need to know what is going on between him and Queen's College. That's the key.
Okay, sure.
Because Pauline has chosen him, okay, for whatever reason. And initially, Samantha Liverpool, who is supposed to be the IT head of the department, said to me, yes, e-networks is in the school, but to what extent, I have no knowledge. This is the person who is running the IT department. She
All
didn't
right,
know-
we can sort all of that out.
Sorry?
If I do not find Vishok's contact information directly, I have numbers for his staff and I can get his from them.
But, all right. I mean, anything would help, but I still think that he's the guy that's running the program. And since he and Pauline have some obvious relationship, we probably need to get him on side too with us.
Yes, definitely.
Elizabeth, do you have any connection? Do you have any knowledge of Pauline? I know she's probably. I'm trying to find some way to talk to this person so we can get her a little more involved in what we're doing.
To talk
Other
to
than-
Pauline, you mean?
Sorry?
To talk to Pauline?
Yes.
I have her on my Facebook, but she's not very communicative. Let's put it that way. But I
That's
can
what I
send her
thought.
a message and tell her that we'd like to talk to her.
But Rod said he
I
has
said
her
I would.
number. Yeah, Rod said he's got the information for her, Dave. So all you need is to get the information
give-
from Rod.
Yeah, give me a few days, Dave. I'll try and track her down. No problem.
Okay, good.
I'll track her down.
All right, so Elizabeth, you look after Vishok. Rod is gonna try with Pauline, okay?
You remember she
Right.
contacted me in the first place
Right.
because I'm a historian. She wanted me to do research for her. So there it is.
Well, when you talk to her now, you can tell her that it's the GAN program you're calling her about and try to
Yeah,
get her
yeah.
on side to have this meeting. We've been waiting now at least 2 months to have this meeting with Bishop, Pauline, Marcel, Terry, and Kerry. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's where we are. And that is actually a pretty important part about his whole program.
Okay.
If the bandwidth
Could you
isn't
just
there,
remind me who Terry is?
Terry Hart is an IT guy in South Florida. He's big in the Florida Powered Light division. He runs his own management for IT networks, okay? Installed servers. He could actually run the whole program in Guyana. He actually goes there every
Ah,
night. Yep.
I see.
Yep. So he's offered his services, and the first thing he asked me, he said, Dave, I want a plan of the school. I want you to tell me how many rooms they want connected, what type of bandwidth you're going to use, whole bunch of stuff. All right. Anything else, folks? Because I think we've outdone ourselves on the agenda.
Yeah, I think we can end. We can end it.
Yeah, I will send you the link for the next meeting if you wish.
Yes.
We'll do that.
So we have the Cronus meeting, and then the next meeting, Rod, the meeting you're talking about is.
Well,
This next meeting.
whenever the next one is, just let me know.
Okay,
I will.
okay, okay,
Yep.
okay.
Just let me know when it
Yes,
is.
folks.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Okay, gentlemen, my apologies once again for missing half the
Wait,
meeting.
Elizabeth, there's another blackout
I'm-
every day here, right?
I'm
Oh,
gonna,
God, it's
I'm-
horrible.
I'm ending
And
that.
this new place that I've moved into, we get blackouts several times a day.